sometimes the world changes and we're pretty oblivious to it. And we're also pretty oblivious to what impact we may have had on it. So check this out. This is a piece coming from Fox 13 Memphis, dealing with a new Tennessee bill that would likely make it illegal to falsely accuse someone of being the baby's father. So this is dealing with paternity fraud, but they're making paternity fraud illegal. See what they have to say about it. Let's go ahead and let Snoop do the work for us.
Bill introduced to the Tennessee General Assembly would make it a crime to falsely accuse someone of being the child's parent. The bill was originally introduced to the legislature by Antonio Parkinson from Memphis, who represents part of Shelby County. Parkinson introduced it to the Tennessee House on January 18 and Senator John Lundberg of Bristol, Tennessee, brought it to the state Senate on January 23. The bill, known as 253 and 0331, passed the state Senate unanimously on March 20. The bill would make it a misdemeanor when a person commits parentage fraud. Parentage fraud, as defined in the bill, occurs when a person seeks to legally establish the individual as the biological parent of a child in the person's custody with intent to deprive that person of property or to prevent the child's actual biological parent from exercising parental rights to the child. Under the bill, parentage fraud could also be when someone seeks to be legally established as a child's parent and the person knows or should reasonably know that they are not the child's biological parent. There are exceptions laid out in the bill, which can be read here. Download the FOX 13 Memphis app to receive alerts from breaking news.
All right, so you get it, right? Basically, we're seeing policy that's actually starting to acknowledge, right, the treatment that men have been experiencing for years, and we're oblivious to it. So in this regard, we're seeing it in terms of HBO 253 and SBO 331 in Tennessee, but this is likely to spread, especially if men themselves continue to advocate for their own mistreatment, or against their own mistreatment, I should say. So that said, this makes me think of something that I've, saw in a film before, right? This is what I mean when I say too many brothers are Jeremys when it comes to the Manosphere, because we're starting to see the environment adapt to the things that we advocate for, but instead of acknowledging it and embellishing on it, taking the opportunity to push further the things that we're looking for, we attack each other and everything falls to rancor so we can fight about nothing.
Hey, my more brothers, back again, and this is a pre-recorded, okay? I've been doing my daily lives, and the pre-recordeds have been kind of shy, haven't been doing a lot of them, and I got to get back on my grind. Work is work, man. People don't realize how much work YouTube actually is. But the clip you just heard was from Dr. Tiasan Johnson's PhD motherfuckers video about the Tennessee bill that has been passed through the legislature about paternity fraud, which is, by the way, on the 17-point Black political agenda. Probably put a link to the description of both the video and the political agenda, so you can actually check it out. But really what I want to say is, lately there's been some pigeons, man, some black pigeons saying that talking about women and talking about the same thing over and over again, which, the SBE crowd, saying it doesn't do any good and nothing moves because you don't have any money, you ain't got no power, and nothing is going to happen by doing this. And people forget that soft power is the power of persuasion. There's three ways to get people to do something. They call it hard power and soft power, right? Hard power is with military arms. In other words, you're doing it by force, with weapons, including your fist, by forcing people to do something, right? That's military stuff. That's police, where they actually law enforcement. In other words, they force you to do something that you probably would not have wanted to do, or you initially wouldn't want to do, or encourage you to do something. Cops will tell you, cops are not there to keep the criminals off the streets. They're there to keep honest people honest. So that's hard force, right? That's force. It's hard power. Soft power, which is relatively soft, is with wealth. That's where the money comes in. You give them jobs, you give people money, you give them luxuries, you give them whatever it is, a benefit to for them to actually convince them to actually do something. Right? It's called incentives, financial and economic incentives. That's wealth. The third is persuasion, talking to people, convincing them of what the right thing to do. Convince them of things of what is in their best interest. That's persuasion. That's soft power. That is called politics. Politicians have to talk for a living. They have to talk to people and other people for a living. They have to promote their agenda, sometimes for decades. It's called talking. Some people think that if you ain't got no power, you can't get on the street, you can't burn down a city, you can't attack people, which you can't if you're a minority. That's not a good strategy. And sometimes it works in the short term, but in the long term, it kind of backfires. And I hear people say you should go out in the streets and protest. And sometimes you need to do that. It's force. A lot of people say you need to get your money up, come together, sacrifice yourself, put some pennies together, build up some money, start a PAC fund, buy or rent, or I should say, basically garner some politicians to introduce things in for you, whatever your agenda is. For Black men and boys, hopefully, that's wealth. Soft power is persuasion, because guess what works best with politicians? Believe it or not, it's called persuasion. Who do you need to persuade? Not only politicians, but also their voters. They can't get in office to collect money if they don't get voted in. And they trust and believe. That's how come they take polls. What do you think the polls are for? The polls are there to actually find out what way or which way their voters are thinking. And guess what? That is a big influence on what people do, especially your politicians, especially if they want to win. Persuasion. If you do it right and you hit the right markers and persuade people to figure out what angle of their best interest is actually going to work for them, you're going to get some traction. You get enough traction, get enough momentum, you're going to get things changed, especially if all these little things line up. Now, I have explained that to people on occasion, especially during my live streams, but you know what? Most people are not trained to see this stuff. So I give them grace. That's like normally when they talk their mess, like they think they know something, I let them do it because they don't know. They've never studied this stuff. And it would take too long to teach them to see it. And sometimes when you do teach them to see it, they still can't see it. But I've been telling people for the last 2 or 3 years that the pendulum is getting ready to shift. It's getting ready to swing the other way. It has to. It has to. Because the pendulum has swung too far the other way. And what's going to happen is you have to keep your men happy. You don't think so, but at some point, if the men become unhappy and they start giving up, guess what's going to happen? Your society will come apart. Everybody knows that. So they have to push the pendulum back towards the middle. And what does that mean? Taking things away from women because they have too much. And if you know that, if you can detect that the pendulum is too far to the left arbitrarily, that the momentum slowly but surely, just like a pendulum, it starts out real slow, but slowly but surely picks up speed and goes back the other way. And you can mark it in increments. Anybody that does physics and science knows that when you reach the terminal point, things slow down and slowly do what? Turns around, and all that force that went one way will come back the other way. And it will gain what? Force and momentum back the other way. Feminism has just about reached its terminal point, and it's swinging back the other way, in my opinion. The thing is that when they hear us talking, they think that we're worried about women and controlling women and controlling what women do. And I've been saying for 8 years, you cannot control women. The environment controls women, just like it controls you. You cannot do anything outside of what your environment will allow you to do. Cannot have lights without electricity. I don't care how much you think you can do it. Someplace you're going to have to rig up something that's to cause or generate some kind of electrical current to get lights, to get any kind of incandescent light. If there ain't nothing out there in your environment, there's no tools or anything that's making incandescent light out there in your environment, it's not going to happen. People are not gods, as much as we like to think that we are, right? We're baby gods, maybe, in an esoteric sense, but we're not gods. People always conform to their environment. Always. Especially women. And after women, the state. If you add up all the markers, add up all the points, you knew that the state was going to swing back the other way. And this is just a start. Oh, I keep hearing, oh, it ain't going to never happen. It ain't going to happen for 100 years, and I'll be dead long before you swings back the other way. And it's just no good. I'm just going to give up. And you should just pump and dump until you die. If you want to do that, fine. If you think that's what's going to happen, I'm not here to convince you. Because personally, I don't care. Be truthful. If you can get something out of what we're doing, that's fine. But if you don't believe it and you don't think it's going to happen and you're against it, whatever it is, you're just one person. You're not even the person that's in the right spot. So in essence, you have one vote against millions, against a state that has its own needs. And you're not going to change anything. You can laugh, joke, and ha ha, he he. But guess what? The pendulum is going to swing back whether you like it or not. Now, if you're going to be on that ride back the other way, you're going to stay where you are. I don't care. My job, my assignment here, my 2 shekels here is to put the Black Manosphere in position to actually have a seat on that ride back. Put enough pressure, put enough momentum, convince enough people that it's in their best interest to push this pendulum back the other way, including, guess who? State. I point stuff out to you. Why it's in the state's best interest to push the pendulum back the other way. And all you have to do is point it out to them because they can see it. And the thing is, how they get by is because they don't think that you can see it. But once they know that you can see it, there's no reason for them to go hide things. They might as well go ahead and do what they need to do because they can't kick the can down the road and fool you into submissiveness for the next 20 years anymore. They got to do something. What you see going on right now is the state doing things to push the pendulum back the other way. As Dr. Johnson has been trying to do. Dr. Johnson said, you have a moment, you have a window to get your agenda in, or at least pieces of your agenda in. You're not going to get 100%. And if it doesn't align with what the government and the society needs, you probably won't get it. The thing is, what on that menu can you eat? What on that menu can you pick? What on that menu can you rally for or vie for? That's what's important. And for you brothers that disagree, that feel that we're doing the wrong thing, I respect your opinion. But at the end of the day, the work still needs to get done, and I don't give a shit. My thing is stay over there. If you don't want to do the work, and this is not the work you want to do, go do yours. But stay over there. Stop telling me what I need to do. I know what I need to do. And the people that are with me know what they need to do. And if you were smart, you would let us do it. But the thing is, if you don't, or aren't that smart enough to see it, then stay out of the way. Go do you. There's Passport Bros, there's Pickup, there's SYSBM, there's MGTOW, and a host of other things, host of other strategies that you guys can use. You don't need me. There's plenty of other coaches. There's plenty of other videos. Cousin T-Tar is an expert at Pickup. Expert. He can tell you why he's actually qualified, extremely qualified, to actually tell you how to do that. Want to go learn how to pick up women or actually decipher women and get in your best position to get women? Ram and Cousin T-Tar do that all day in spades. Experts. Been doing it for 30 years. Leave them little lame ass dating coaches alone. Go over there and actually get some real game. That's what you want. If you want to do body game, there's tons and tons and tons of fitness coaches and fitness programs online that you can actually view. Tons. White or black. You want to learn about money? Man, I know that I run across at least 10 black men that can tell you about finance and business and whatever you want to learn. In fact, I'm subscribed to at least 2 of them, including Glenn Cameron. Talk about gold, money, and business all day long. Go there. You want to learn about tech, programming? At least 20% of my subs are programmers. You got programmers looking in your face. Young Grizzly is one of them. AB Media is another one of them. Y'all don't go to him? They've been programmed for like 10, 15 years. MGTOW Universe has been programmed for 20 years. He's been doing videos on ChatGPT and AI for the last month. He gets 100 views. Miss me with that bullshit. Most of my guys do not need your help. Most of my guys get really good jobs. A lot of my guys make 6 figures and more. They don't need your help. What they need is policy to change. With policy, the women will change. Change the policy, change the economy, change the environment. The women have to change. They have to. Now, whether you want them or not, that's a different story. Now, let's get to this goddamn table thing. Let's get to the table. I'm sick of you Negroes talking about women coming back to the table. Obsidian was not the only one that it said. He was the loudest. He wasn't the only one. Kevin talked to his subs, to his high value men. In fact, I'll find that video. We hosted for like a whole 2 hours about should black men abandon black women. Guess what? Almost to the man, guess what they said? They said no. They wanted black wives. They wanted to work it out with black women. The majority of men that I talk to want to work it out with black women. The majority want to date them, want to marry them, want to work it out with them. Even the guys that say that they don't believe black women will come back to the table, they're out there out there having sex with them and dating them and spinning plates with them. They haven't gone overseas. They don't date out. They haven't gone monk. They still fuck with the same women. Shut the hell up. Now for the guys, for the majority of guys, I'm telling you, it's the majority. I can tell you it's the freaking majority. Want to come back to the table. How do I know? Because as soon as a woman sets up shop and starts speaking red pill shit, the men, they all run over there. Why? Because they want to hear what she got to say. So if they're telling you anything different, they're lying. Because I've seen it for myself. So they will not believe that it's time to give up until they find out for themselves. They gotta find out the stove is hot. That's what the table is for. And slowly but surely, they're finding out what? The table's hot. The stove is hot. We're gonna get burned. That's what you want. That's why it's necessary for these women to come back and talk to these guys so they can find out exactly what the women are on and what they were like. Because they don't believe me. They don't believe you. So unless you want to remain the small little pocket of guys that has no power and doesn't do anything, and I think some of you guys want to stay in your cocoon. I don't know if you're scared or what. I have no clue what it is. But that's your job. That's your mission. It's not mine. My thing is let me do my work. Let me do what's necessary. Let me work with the people that were willing to help me do my work and stay out of the way. If you want to preach pump and dump, Coach Greg Adams does that 24/7. What he teaches. Darius M teaches the same thing. You're not the first. Go over there. Bother them. Let me do my work. Stay out of my way. Because I can tell you, 2 years ago, paternity fraud wasn't even a thought. Oh man, it ain't never gonna happen. Just heard it. Divorce law ain't never gonna change the divorce laws. No momentum. Not even possible. They're not even thinking about it. 2 states trying to repeal no-fault divorce. Oh man, they're never gonna touch the abortion. They just talking. Really? What happened? What did DC say about 1.0, right? Women will never come back to the table to negotiate. They will ignore us because they don't have to. Too much money from the state. They got the jobs are too good. They don't need you. How the worm does turn. I said 5 years ago, automation's coming. The debt is getting too big. They'll be back. I told my women, find you a chair before they're all gone. When the music stops, nobody wants to be standing without a chair. Kevin and COVID started that conversation. Now, if you guys want to do whatever it is that you're on, you don't have to pick them. I never said you had to pick them. But if you want to converse with them, they're coming back. Now, what do you want? What are you going to say? What are you going to negotiate? Because they're here. 2016, I told you about the 4th Industrial Revolution. Coming, automation. Start taking jobs. Oh, BGS, that's going to be 30 years, 20, 30 years, 40 years. That's not going to happen anytime soon. Shit's already here. All you have to do is read the tea leaves. Follow the breadcrumbs. It's right in front of you. But if you don't believe it, it's not your thing. It's a waste of time. That's fine. Let me waste my time. Go over there. Stop bothering me. Let me do my work. Because my stuff keeps moving. My metrics are being met. What about yours? With that, I'm going to jump off here. This is BGS out. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.